Kia ora koutou. Back here at Down by the River podcast, and blessed to have my sister here, my sister Jay Phreaze. What's goody, sis? Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Firstly, thank you so much for coming and sharing your time and energy with us today. Without further ado, before we get into anything too crazy, how are you feeling, sis?
Wow, it's been what's the word? Challenging year already.
Yes.
Bloody 2022.
Bloody 2022.
But I feel like I can see the light now. and we're going to excel for the rest of the year. That's how I'm feeling.
Mean Māori ora Māori blessings. Before we go in any further, I'll just get you to share with us your pepeha or your whakapapa. Where you from?
Yeah, I'll do you the quick version. So I'm a chase on one side, taihape chasers, so two whare toa there.
Two whare toa, eh?
Yeah, and then also on the other side I'm a grace, tūrangi graces, so two whare toa there as well. So two whare toa all round.
Kia ora whānau and tūrangi, mean. So I've known you for, well over 10 years, well over a decade, my sis, I would say.
Yeah.
We've been pretty tight for a while. And when did you return back to Aotearoa?
7 years, I think now. I've been here 7 or 8 years.
Oh, you went back for 7 years? Oh, my God.
I know, blink, right? And then it's
blink.
Like, yeah.
Blink, and then boom, back to Aotearoa.
Yeah.
So, before we go and dip into what's going on with you and what you've been through, your struggles and your hardships and your triumphs, where are you at right now? What's happening with you? What's happening with your bizo? What's happening with your mahi at the moment?
Well, so since I moved back, I started a business called Phreaze Factory. So I pretty much named it that so it could grow into whatever I want it to grow into. And pull in a lot of different skills and things that I already do or but want to basically bring into the business a bit at a time. So it's a creative service in general, but I guess, you know, the things that are taking up a lot of my time in it at the moment are the clothing label, which is PFC streetwear, and then custom printing as well. And then I do, I set up a little space called the Purple Lab, which is about workshops and open to all ages and all sort of walks of life as well. And, you know, we do some funded projects in there, some not. But it's basically become a hub for the local hip-hop community as well. We do a Bay of Plenty hip-hop hui every couple of months, and we all pull together and just sort of see where everyone's at. And it's been real good for especially soloists like me.
Yes.
You know, to just connect and see what everyone's up to off social media. And what everyone's planning on doing for the rest of the year. And we're just trying to have a bit of a coordinated, you know, effort here around hip hop and instead of just all willy-nilly planning things, releases and events and stuff like that, and maybe clashing with each other, we're trying to map it out, you know, so that there's constantly hip-hop out there in the area. So whether it's through an event or a release or whatever, we're just trying to be a bit more organised around it. COVID's played obviously a bit of a hoha part in that, so it's been up and down with our meetings. We used to have a kai there and everyone share food, and now you can't do that, and you know, and that's kind of a big part, especially of our culture as well as Māori. You know, is we share things over food, and And that's been, you know, kind of, we only ended up having the one hui with Kai, and then it was COVID rules after that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots going on.
Yeah, I know you, sis. I mean, I know you so well, and you've always been that person that has a lot going on. But I think the thing that stands out to me the most with knowing you is you've always been that person that's been encouraging for artists and the hip hop movement as a whole. You know what I mean? You've never been that person that only thinks about yourself as a hip hop artist and just only, you know, doing things for yourself. You're always got other people in mind, and you're like a whole movement on its own, rather than you just focusing on yourself as an entity. That's what I get from you, and that's what I love about you the most. And to have you back in Aotearoa to be making these types of moves is incredible. Like, it's incredible for our people, and I hope Aotearoa understand, especially down in Tauranganui, how lucky they actually are to have someone like you to provide these spaces and provide these platforms for. So Mauri ora to you, so thank you so much for being that beacon for hip hop as a movement and for hip hop as a culture. Like, I hope our people know how lucky they are.
I guess it's just, I find it hard to be selfish, you know. I mean, sometimes, you know, you got to look after yourself, yada yada. But I feel like it's if I can just take people with me, then I just take people with me, you know. Like, if I have a hui on or something, and I know that someone else would benefit from being there, I'll be like, and I can take someone to it, I'll be like, come, you know. Just to, because I'm all about knowledge, you know, and sharing it, and you know, whether they take that on or not is another thing, but you know, I just like to give people the opportunity to learn.
So yeah, we're establishing what you've got going on there and how you're helping the hip hop movement with Dawn Raid.
Yeah, so pretty much, you know, I'm at a stage of my life, and you know, I've had 2 babies now, so I'm at a stage where, you know, I'm not really trying to crack it like I used to, you know. It was, I used to go handy and really tried to get all up in all the opportunities, all the stages, you know, and that's why I was all over the place over in Aussie. But you know, here I'm just on a different buzz. I'm just jamming and stuff now. So for me, it's more about passing on the things that I learned, you know, through the opportunities that I got during that time, but also through the people that I met and have still maintained connections with. And one of those people is Brother D. And he's just got so much knowledge on so many levels. And he's at a place where he wants to share it with people too, you know. So through the Purple Lab, I've managed to get him out here, and we're working on a project with local artists, all from the Bay of Plenty. Yeah, and there's singers as well. It's hip hop and R&B, so there's singers as well as MCs and rappers. And we're all working towards a compilation.
Wow, and this is with Purple Lab, eh? So this collaboration is with Purple Lab.
Yeah, so it's not, you know, for me, it's about the guts of it is the learning in the studio. So what's happening is Brother D's the main overseer of all the songs, but he's bringing in people like Ricky Paul Music, you know, to do the beats, and he sat down and actually we did it over lockdown period, but so we had to Zoom it just to keep it going. But he sat one-on-one in Zoom sessions with each of the artists and actually built beats with them, which has been a mean process to experience. And then the guts of it for me and why I wanted to set this all up was, you know, having most of us are home producers, you know what I mean? We do everything ourselves, you know. because out of necessity. So we're not used to people telling us what to do in that space, or how to make it sound better, or, you know, all those sorts of things, or not even being open in that space. So that's what I wanted to break the ice around, because when, you know, they get into more commercial spaces, they're going to have to learn to compromise a little bit here and there, not go in and just be like, this is how it is and that's it. They've got to sort of actually listen to input from other people and take it on and all those sorts of things, because it does make it better.
Well, you know? And at the end of the day, you know, when you start dipping into professional time is money. And, you know, you don't want to really be messing with tedious things when you get into that level, and you get into recording, and you get into working with people that are well established. You don't really want to be going in there working on tedious things that don't really matter. You kind of want to go in there prepared, because you know, the people that you're working with now, if you get to dip into that level, the people that you're working with now, nobody's got time for that. You have to kind of go in and smash it out and be able to know what you want, know what you got going on, go in prepared, put it down, and then like literally leave, basically. So you would want to get them to a level where they understand that. So it's a bit about that, but just also again about, you know, being open is a huge thing. Like I've been sitting in a lot of these sessions already, and it's been really eye-opening for me. And for everybody involved, well, for all the artists from Bay of Plenty, you know, to sort of like Brother D musically, he's amazing. Like he knows, like he can hear everything, and you know, it's kind of tripping me out that we're getting to sit in a room with someone like that. You know, that actually, you know, can quickly come up with things and go, actually, it needs this, it needs that, you know, and you actually hear it though when he says it. You're like, you know, like it makes sense.
It's none of that where you're like, trying to tell me what to do. you know, there's been none of that, because you can't hear it initially. He hears it and then he tells you, and then you're like, man, you know? So talent, you know, he's just so talented on that level.
So when did you open Purple Lab? Like, when did you start that?
So that was nearly 2 years ago.
2 years ago, you opened Purple Lab in Tauranga.
Actually, probably more like a year and a bit ago.
Okay.
I wasn't even ready to open it, but one of my youth worker mates had been there and seen it was nearly set up, and she works with youth justice kids, and she had a project starting off, and she's like, can we please come in next week? So I was like, so I just smashed it out and got it ready, and it went really, really well from there, and so we just kept running workshops from there. Wow. There's different things, you know. There's different age groups. I do t-shirt printing in there. What was your initial intention around opening Purple Lab? You know, this has always been a thing that I've wanted to do for years and years and years, since I was about probably 20-ish, and I'm 39 now. So, like, I have a letter from like a support letter to, and if you're an Aussie watching this, you'll know, they have this thing over there called the Nescafe Big Break, and it's like basically you write in an idea, it can be anything, a business idea or whatever, and if you win, you get a big chunk of money towards it. It's like a grant, but you don't have to report back, you just get the money and do what you want with it, sort of thing. But I went for that money, and I was a finalist, but I didn't win. won. Someone had a peanut idea and won. Something about bloody peanuts, that's all I remember. And but my idea was to start basically a hip-hop centre, you know, and it's something that I've always done, but in a different way. I've always gone into other people's spaces and done it, and had carried around my suitcase with my studio equipment or whatever, and just done it in their spaces. But I wanted to really bring especially rangatahi into a different space, you know.
You wanted to create that. You wanted to create that space.
Yeah, and so it's been awesome just having it all set up, because I've been able to do more that way as well.
Awesome.
Like bringing people into that space, it's already there, you know, so I can do one thing after the next. But if I'm going into other people's spaces, I'm, you know, setting up, packing up.
Yes,
all of it,
for sure.
You know,
so what was, you know, with setting up Purple Lab, I obviously we're going to dip into a lot of the things that you've been a part of, and that are part of, you know, everything to do with your journey. But with Purple Lab specifically, what was one of the hardest struggles that you went with trying to get this started for Purple Lab?
I guess, you know, money. It's always money around this sort of stuff. Like, I funded it all myself, everything in there. But, you know, I had I'm not rich. I come from a long line of beneficiaries. You know what I mean? Like, if, this is all just money I scraped up, saved up, you know, all that sort of thing.
Yes.
But it's what I love doing, and so, you know, it's all worth it. But a lot of people just, I guess, gravitate towards that as well. And
towards your passion, and your tenacity. Yeah, for sure.
But one of those people was an IT guy, and he resells computers and stuff like that. He refurbishes and stuff. And he come and did all of it for like ridiculously cheap. He set everything up for me. Just gave me. I just got like second-hand computers in there. I was like, well, as long as it does the job, you know. And and it has, and that's what's so cool. Like, I didn't need this top shelf stuff. It was just like a community centre, and even the hip hop community here, we're all, you know, banging nails in the wall and putting the booth together.
And you had an artist come in and put a massive bombing of Purple Lab on the wall. And it looks incredible. I mean, I've been fortunate enough. I've been fortunate enough to be able to come in there and check out your studio, and it does not look like all those hardships that you are actually speaking of. So to know like the back end stuff of how you set everything up, it actually looks well established. The studio, the booth looks crazy. The booth looks crazy. You know, the laptops that you've got in there, the people that you've got in there, the creatives that you've got in there that are running workshops at the moment, and all these different movements that you've got going on. It's like, you know, it just goes to show that, you know, if you have a vision, and, you know, with someone like yourself that is selfless enough to actually invest their own money and their own time to be able to build something like that, that is actually possible. And like I said it earlier on, and I keep saying it again, I hope Tauranga realizes how much of an asset and how much of a giving person that you are to be able to provide these spaces and platforms, and how much it actually takes to put these types of things together. So ngā mihi nui ki a koe, sis. That's freaking crazy. So that's a Purple Lab for any of our listeners at Down by the River that want to go and check that out. We can look at...
so if you go to phreazefactory.com, Phreaze, you can get linked to the Purple Lab from there, PFC streetwear, custom prints, anything I'm working on, photography stuff, yada, yada.
Yeah, you got a lot going on. So I'm glad that you moved the conversation towards that direction, because now that we've established the Purple Lab and the story behind that, what have we got going on over there with the Phreaze Factory over there, that PFC? What you got going on over there, sis? When did you actually get that established? When did you start that?
So that, I mean, I was doing that stuff from home for years, but I opened my first shop about 3 years ago, and then the second one, which is where the Purple Lab is, that one's been open nearly 2 years. So I just do custom prints, signage. You know, I started doing custom printing because I was always, you know, gigging from like Wednesday to Sunday and just couldn't find clothes that were like different.
Original pieces. You want to be original, especially when you're an artist.
Yeah.
You don't want to be performing on the stage and seeing somebody, you know, in the bloody crowd walking with the same outfit.
Yeah.
That's like an artist's worst nightmare. So you always got to be up in there looking fresh. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, so vinyl was a real easy way for me to do that. And so I started making my own clothes, and then everyone else was like, can you make me? And it just, you know, turned into a business from there.
Yeah.
I was, you know, I really wanted to just stop working for other people because I've been a youth worker for so long, but especially in New Zealand, I found I was just getting restricted. Like, you know, there's so many things that I can bring to the table and not ask them, but
100%.
I had to do it in my own time to be able to do it, or, you know, or my own money, all of it. They wouldn't invest in it, and I was just like, you know, it just used to piss me off. So, so I started the Purple Lab. So now, you know, they started seeing it. They've actually been hiring me to do all that stuff. And it's like, bro, I've been doing that for you for free.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But, you know, now it's, you know, now I've got I still don't charge a lot of money and stuff. I just need to keep the lights on and the rent paid in those places, you know what I mean? So I still have to charge, but I try and go for funding where I can so it's free for people doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so PFC clothing, where would we find that, sis?
So same page, PFC Streetwear, there's a link off phreazefactory.com. Custom prints, we're mostly based in Historic Village. We're actually going to be moving the Purple Lab there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's going to move there soon, and hopefully in the next couple of months we're going to move it over there so everything's in one place. And it's way more central as well. So down on 17th Ave.
This village is dope too. I know this village is crazy. Honestly, I've been there when we did that jam together at the Jam Factory. And I honestly felt like I was like in a whole different time zone. It's got that kind of vibe about it. And what was even more beautiful about it is it's all art. Yeah, it's a whole village of entrepreneurs, and it's just like there's so much shit going on over there. Like you've got art, you've got clay making, you've got canvas making, you've got clothing, like anything that you can think of that
all sorts
relates
of
art and creativity. They've got workshops happening there. It's crazy. So where is it again, sis? In Tauranga?
So Historic Village in Tauranga. So 17th Ave is where it's at, just behind the hospital down the bottom there.
Yep.
So, but I mean, there's so much still coming in. There's a whole big plan for that place. So it's just going to be a massive arts hub. It already is, but it's going to get even bigger.
Even huger. Well, I can vouch for that because me and a few of my peeps came through and brought some clothing from the store. We were lucky enough to rock some of your clothing at the Jam Factory Jam as well. There's a lot of boys on the south side that want to get their hands on a lot of your stuff as well, especially the custom made stuff. So to our whānau that want to be getting out there looking fresh, you know what I mean? Or if you're an artist, or if you've got a whole clique going on and you want to get things custom made and you want to make sure that you're out there looking fresh and individual and original, make sure that you go and check out PFC clothing on Phreaze, phreazefactory.com.
Yeah,
go and check that out. Most definitely do yourself a favor. So now that we've got all of that, the new vibes happening with you and what you've got going on with Aotearoa, I just want to take it back a little bit and look into you as an artist. When did the penny drop for you?
Sorry, sis.
Kete pai. When did the penny drop for you as an MC, as an artist? What age? When did
the quick version. Because I have to go soon. But the quick version is that I used to carry a poem book around since I was a little kid. I must have learned how to do that at school, I think, from teachers. And I just used to carry a poem book around for years. And then went over to the States when I was 18 to Atlanta, and I stayed
Atlanta
for a bit. Yeah, Georgia. I loved it there. Stayed there for like 3 months, and while I was there, they were like, "Oh, why don't you try to do some of your poems to my beatbox?" And that's actually how I first rapped properly. It was like, I loved it. I loved doing it to a beatbox, and I just fell in love with it after that. I did do
at
a
the
little
ripe
bit of
age of
DJ.
18, eh?
Yeah, I did do
18.
some DJ training back in the day though as well, and was actually gonna do both DJ and MC, but then I just loved MCing. Like I even got into beat making and all that for a bit, but it's just the MCing that stuck. So I had a tattoo of everything, but yeah.
So that's where the penny dropped for you. Well, what was like on your journey being an MC? And I know that we have to cut this pretty short because I know you got a lot going on over there.
Yeah.
But fast forward from the 18-year-old Phreaze getting in, figuring out this whole poem thing and figuring out your passion as an MC, coming through to Sydney. What was your journey there? How did you get into the music industry there? Is it the same approach that you had for Aotearoa, or was there somebody
so I was writing poems and stuff still, and writing. I was a closet MC, I'll say, back here in New Zealand, and I never really rapped out loud to people, just boyfriends at the time or whatever. But then I went over to Aussie with Te Wānanga Aotearoa. I was working for them. And while I was over there, I decided that I wanted to give it a proper go because I thought I could maybe be good at it.
You're incredible at it. Let's just state fact right now.
But I was lucky because I had a good foot up because this is around the time when they were doing hip-hop workshops. It's really just starting it. And Maya Jupiter and MC Trey over there were running...
I remember MC Trey.
Yeah, and they were running workshops, and I was like, I'm going to do this shit. so I went in and I did workshops with them, and they were just really cool. Maya Jupiter was already up there at the time, and so she and Trey, but Maya and Trey actually both took me to extra things outside of that, like to gigs and stuff, and they just gave me like extra knowledge around it and everything. I guess I was probably showing that I was keen at the beginning, from the beginning, so they were trying to help me out. And it was just dope because I was already writing raps then. It wasn't so much that side of it they taught me, but the business side, but it was also good to get that bounce as well, like someone to bounce off, like, is this all right? Because I used to write I still write quite technical, but I used to write super technical back in the day. And I remember asking Maya, I was like, do you reckon like I need to sort of dumb it down for people because can they understand? Because I'd been told that in hip-hop forums. I was writing raps on hip-hop forums back then online, and some people had said, we can't understand what you're saying, it's too technical. And so I asked that question, and she goes to me, I don't think you should ever dumb shit down. Like,
no, not at all.
That's who you are, that's your vocabulary, that's your education, that's your
intelligence, that's your state of consciousness.
So, and that was real cool for me to hear, because I was like, cool, like I can keep going and doing what I'm doing, and I did, and I still, I don't dumb it down, but there's a verse that I've written that that I dumb down.
I know about that verse. but I can relate to that verse.
But I still keep it, I keep my vocab in there, and I don't try and dumb it down. If you can't
No,
understand it, well, move on.
Yeah.
Listen to somebody else.
If you don't understand it, then educate your damn self.
Yeah, go back to school. Nah, jokes.
How the kids are good over there?
Stay in school, kids. No. But no, you know, I'm just at a stage where I'm like it or don't. You know, it's up to you.
Yeah, 100%.
But move on if you don't be a hater. Just carry on.
Yeah,
and I'll do the same for you. So.
Aye. So for any MCs out there or any poets or any creatives out there that are writing or looking at doing some MC stuff, go and check out Phreaze's music. I mean, I've, been lucky enough to be able to share some stages with you. I've been lucky enough to even get some gigs with you. I mean, girl, remember that time when we supported the fucking game? The game.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
Like 50 people around him, so you couldn't even get.
So you couldn't even get into his green room because everybody was just like all up in his business. But you created some incredible platforms even over in Sydney. Going through your journey as an artist, you provided platforms for myself. I don't even think I would have ever got the opportunity to support the game had I not even known you. You just, there was that Bring It On festival where they were it was so epic in the Liverpool area, on the West Sydney area.
Fairfield represent.
Fairfield represents. Blacktown as well.
Dopest youth festival, man.
That was the dopest, honestly. 100%. That was the dopest festival, and you provided that opportunity for so many artists like myself, hip hop artists, R&B artists. You just opened the door to so many things. And that was so amazing. As a collective, it was such a huge movement. So I had to chuck that one in there because that was freaking huge.
But I'll always do that, even though there's people that bloody let me down when I give them opportunities and they just don't show up and all of that. It's just natural for me to share it. I get a kick out of seeing people. I
know you do.
On those platforms, and then exceeding them. So I'll always do that, and I love hearing back too that like your story that you loved it.
I loved it. I appreciate
love it even more.
I was honestly straight up. I was just like, wow. It's beautiful to have a sister trust you with platforms that big. You know what I mean? For you to actually believe in the talent that you brought on board, even though you were getting every now and then people wouldn't understand the opportunity that you were providing and shit on your mana pretty much. Let's just be honest. But you were constantly a provider in the game. And that's how I remember you, sis. You've always been someone of service. You've always been someone that wants to provide opportunities for others that are coming up in the mix. It's always something that's been on your heart. It's always been something that's been on your mind. And I'd be super duper ungrateful if I wasn't sitting here today and be able to say to you, thank you. You know what I mean? For providing those types of opportunities. I'm so grateful. Those were things straight up. No, straight up. Those were things where it gave us confidence as artists to be you know what? Yeah, shit, I can do this. I'm really good at this. I'm actually good at what I do. That's the level of confidence that you give to people and your people and other creatives by selflessly providing these opportunities and trusting us to be able to come through and provide the goods. There's not a lot of people like you, sis. You're cut from a different cloth, and to have someone like you do that so selflessly is amazing.
I just want to say sort of around that, there are some people like me as well that like MC Trey's still doing it, she's been doing it all these years.
Yes.
But what I want to say is if you're listening to this or watching this and you're an artist, it's so important to follow through with opportunities that you say yes to. If you can't do it or you're not sure, you need to say that. It's so important to follow through. I didn't even mention I'm sitting there with a broken ankle in a freaking cast right now, but I'm still getting in the lab. I'm still showing up for everything I committed to, And it's not even because I'm trying to be famous or anything like that. It's because it's my word, and my word is everything. Like if I say if you're a real hip hop artist, you'll understand that. And you will be the same. Your word is everything. So if you're someone that says something and does another, then you might want to check what genre of music you're.
No, you just want to check your damn self. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for people to be mucking around.
And you'll get checked. You'll get checked. At some one point or another, you will get checked. So just be real, be honest at all times. If you can't make shit, just say it. You know, at the beginning, don't muck people around. That's huge.
And that's your accountability. You don't want to be burning bridges, not in any industry for that matter, not in the hip hop industry, not in the entertainment industry, full stop, because people won't take you seriously.
Entertainment.
And you will not get any mahi. Beautiful advice, sis.
You don't show up to a gig or something, you're not going to get another one from that promoter ever again, and maybe from other people they know. You don't know who they know as well. So you've just got to be real careful. Again, it's not just about the industry and getting yourself somewhere. It's about
being accountable
and people knowing that they can trust your word. I know promoters like that run massive multi-million-dollar events that don't even have contracts with the artists because the artists know they can trust their word. You know, like that's how it can get. But you've got to prove yourself and pay your dues in that respect first.
100%. Yes. So would you say it's safe to say? Would you say it's safe to say, you know, having talent is one thing? Actually, it's a very vital thing, obviously, and an important thing. But being accountable and being accountable to your word, that's one of the most huge.
It's everything aside from talent. Is that whole trust and stuff and following through. But I do have to go, sis. Sorry.
Yes. No, Ngāmihi Nui, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming in and dipping and having a kōrero with us down by the river. Whānau, if you want to go and check out any of her socials, just rewind this back, go through on everything that we've had a kōrero about, and you will find this is Phreaze. She is based in Aotearoa now in Tauranga. So if you want to check in with her, you have any questions, or you're an artist and you want to get into hip hop and you want to see how the hell you're going to get through that, definitely go through and give my sis a buzz, flicker a message, go check out her site, apparel, clothing,
everything, Facebook.
Everything hip hop, that whole movement. You've obviously heard from our podcast that she's pretty giving with her time and energy. So make sure if you do give her a holler, don't be mucking around with her time. Anybody got time for that? But thank you, my sis. Ngāmihi Nui kia koe. Mauri blessings, Mauri aroha, Mauri ora. Thank you, my sis.
We got the doors up at Tongariro River. Woohoo! Go Zoom. All right.